Ever since I was little, I've always been flipping around, whether that was off a couch or off of a mattress on my front lawn. My parents were convinced that I was going to break my neck. But now that I'm older, I realize there are a lot of biomechanical factors that enabled me to do each skill. In this video, I'm going to look at what happens when there are errors in the biomechanics of my skills, but particularly the biomechanics of my back tuck. Last May, I went into the gym for the first time and attempted my standing back tuck. The next time I went in, I was able to put everything together, and I landed my first standing back tuck, which is this video here. In chair, a very common skill is a jump tuck. In this clip here, I land my first ever jump tuck. But you can see that because my center of mass is changing when I land, I have to take a step forward to increase my base of support and gain balance and stability. My back tuck is a work in progress. There are still biomechanics that need to be adjusted. In this video, I'm going to dive into my form and look at things that I do well and things I need to improve. It's important to realize that in the back tuck, I'm a projectile. That means that I'm moving through the air unassisted with only gravity and air resistance acting upon me. The red line that I'm drawing outlines the trajectory that I follow in the back tuck. Observing my back tuck from the sagittal plane allows me to see the flexion and extension that my body goes through as I'm doing the back tuck. This is also general motion, as there's movement of both translation and rotation. The first factor that's going to influence the trajectory of my back tuck is my initial velocity. Here you can see my knee in flexion at about a 90-degree angle. When the muscles in my quads contract, such as my rectus femoris, it's going to produce knee extension. This is going to propel me up off the ground quickly. It's important that my knees don't undergo an extreme amount of flexion, or else the length of my quads are going to be too lengthened and I won't be able to produce maximum force. I try and achieve optimal muscle length so that I can produce the most force, which will give me the highest initial velocity. One drill that will help increase my initial velocity is this one. So this is my bad version of the drill. It's where I'm slowly going up, I don't push through my toes, and I don't swing my arms up to my ears. But in the next clip, you can see that I push hard through my toes. That helped me drive up in the air, as well as I swing my arms up and remain in a tight position with my arms by my ears. This drill also helps with the next factor that affects my trajectory, which is the projection angle. When I set my back tuck and start to bring my knees up, I want to try and go as straight up in the air as possible. You can see here in this clip that I'm arching my back a bit too much in the set, and that's going to cause me to increase my trajectory, which is not what you want for a back tuck. You want to try and have as little trajectory as possible, meaning you go straight up in the air. With a greater initial velocity and a smaller projection angle, you're going to be able to rotate over much faster, and this ensures that you will land on your feet. You can see as well in this clip, my projection angle is quite large to my body, and I really am arching my back too much when I set to jump. This is going to make it harder for me to flip over. Rather, if I jumped straight up in the air and followed this angle drawn on here, I would be able to do a much more efficient tuck. Another issue with my back tuck is my neck and my head during the takeoff of my back tuck. So as you can see from this clip here, just before I start and my feet begin to leave the ground, my head is already starting to look back. As I go further up in the air, when my feet come off the ground, my neck is basically fully in extension here. That is going to force me to arch backwards and project me more horizontally than vertically. And the goal of the back tuck is to go vertically up in the air. You can see clearly in this clip another factor that is affecting my trajectory, which is the bending of my arms in my set. As you can see right here, after I swing my arms in an upward motion, they're actually remaining, my elbows are in flexion. Rather than being straight by my ears and driving myself upwards, the bending in my elbow is going to cause me to go backwards instead of trajecting myself up in the air. Still looking at my arms, it's important to realize the key role that they play in this back tuck. So once I begin in a seated position with my arms behind me, as you can see right here, driving them up and swinging them up in the air helps to propel me upwards, and this helps with the momentum, and it helps to put my momentum upwards in the air, which allows for me to then bring my knees up and helps for the rotation. So overall, my arms are a key factor in the momentum of this back tuck. A drill to help with my trajectory is this one here, where I swing back and I practice setting and pulling my knees up into my chest. So in this bad version of the drill, I'm just shooting straight back and I'm not jumping upwards. As you can see, my hips have a lot of difficulty rotating. Now, in the good drill, you can see that when I swing, I'm going to bring my arms up by my ears, which is going to help drive me upwards, and the fact that they are straight is also going to help drive myself upwards in the jump. As you can see here, I start to swing, and my set is much more up, and you can see my body tries to remain a little bit more tight, and the rotation is much better. As I mentioned, a quick rotation of the hips is crucial in order for you to get around in your back tuck and land on your feet. So here you can see that my center of rotation is here on my hips. So you want your center of rotation to be high in the air, which that's going to be affected by your initial velocity of how high you jump. The higher it is, the faster you're going to be able to rotate your hips around, and the more you're able to stay in a ball, such as I'm doing here. I bring my hips quickly in to my chest, and I'm able to rotate in a ball. This will help me to rotate around faster and land on my feet. In this clip, you can see a key error that I'm making in my rotation. As I get closer to the ground, you can see that my knees actually begin to undergo extension, so that when I hit the ground, my legs are basically almost fully extended at the knee, which is not what I want. So if I remain in a tucked position and land with my knees still tucked in when I land, I'm going to be able to flip around faster, and I'm going to be able to land with my chest up instead of tucked down. While my legs do straighten out as I get close to landing, once my feet actually do hit the ground, you can see that I begin to have a slight bend in my knees right here. So this is actually because of impulse. And when I land with bent knees, this helps to increase the time it takes to stop my rotation, and it absorbs the impact. So by lengthening the time that it takes for me to land, it actually is helping lessen the force, while also decreasing the chance of injury. This drill is called the 1-2 drill, and it helps me practice my set and helping me have a quick rotation of my hips. This is the bad version, however, because both my arms and hips move at the same time. But in this better version, the correct way of doing it, my arms go first on one count, and then my hips follow on the second count. This helps so that I don't shoot backwards, which I currently do. So this helps by pulling my arms first to set high in the air and gain a high height, and then I follow with my hips to help increase the velocity that my rotation occurs. It's clear that the back tuck is a very technical skill that requires much biomechanics to make sure that everything is just right. First, it's important to have a good set so that your arms begin behind you first in a seated position, and then they swing up forwards. They want to swing up by your ears strongly and quickly. You want to jump up off your toes to help propel you upwards. You don't want to throw your neck back or your head back when you tuck, and you want to bring your hips in quickly. That will help with the rotation so that you get around quickly. You don't want to jut your legs out too quick at the beginning. That way, that will hinder the amount of rotation you will be able to have. And once you do land, it's very important to make sure that you bend your knees slightly to help increase the time that it takes for you to land and helps decrease the force, which then will help to decrease your chance of injury occurring. Cheer is a very technical sport that involves much focus and strength to make sure that every skill is performed properly. I'm very thankful for all the work that my coaches have put in to enable me to be successful in cheer. As well, I'm thankful to my teammates who have given me excellent tips and tricks along the way to perform skills just right. My coach, Nicole, is the person who helped me get my very first back tuck, seen here. She is also in kinesiology, and her knowledge of biomechanics is a great help to gain new skills. She has provided me with many drills that have helped improve my form significantly. As well, a big thanks to Stacy for helping to record the video of my back tuck that has been played so much throughout this video. I hope you enjoyed my final project for Biomechanics 3320.